What's up guys, it's Markin, and in today's video we are going over the card updates in patch V40 for Paragon. We have previously gone over the gameplay changes, linked in the description. We have gone over the hero changes, that was a long one, linked in the description, and today we have another long one. We're going over the card updates. So in this video we're going to go over all of the card updates. We're going to try and make it quick because there are a ton of updates. So enough with the talk, let's just get right into it. Alright, so as you know, Paragon is doing a full rework of the card system. It's planned for later on this year. They're just trying to make cards more situational and a lot more options for everybody to build instead of everybody building the same cards. So we're going to speed through this. Let's get through all the important details. Health. Health per CP has been increased to 60 health from 50 health. Basic armor and ability armor have both been increased as well to 8 points and 6 points respectively. Now what this means is people's survivability is going to be longer. So for every card point you spent on health, basic armor, and ability armor, you're basically just getting more of that. So it's going to make the survivability a little bit higher in Paragon. Now next up, we're going to skip the weekly card pack, unimportant. We're going to move on to Hemorrhage. Hemorrhage is now a universal affinity card. It costs 6 points, it gives you 5% lifesteal and 11 attack speed. The active is called Berserk. For 6 seconds, you will gain 44 attack speed and 80 movement speed, but take an additional 15% damage. This also costs 50 mana to use. So, a Chimera will gain 44 attack speed and 80% movement speed. And with his regen of his passive and his Q active, he is going to be throwing so many punches and chasing so many people down for 6 seconds. 6 seconds is huge. However, he's going to take an additional 15% damage, but his health regen is going to basically counter that. So we'll have to see how Hemorrhage works. It's universal now, so anybody can use it. So I'm kind of excited to see where this card's going to sit. Now next up, we have Nanoplasm. This is a big one. It's now a universal card, anybody can use it. Costs 6 points, gives you 6 power and 60 max mana. The passive on Nanoplasm is SPELLVAMP. This is lifesteal for abilities. So every ability will heal you for 20% of the damage dealt to enemy heroes and 5% against minions. So for example, late game, you have a Howie rocket that does 1000 damage. It doesn't, I'm just saying, for example, 1000 damage. You will get healed for 200 health if that hits an enemy hero. So there are some heroes this is going to work better on than others. For instance, a Gadget ult, a Gideon ult. If you have a 5-man ult, you're getting lifesteal back for every single hero that it hits. So if you're doing 200 damage per tick to 5 different heroes, that's 1000 damage per tick. You're getting healed for 20% of that. So you're getting 200 tick heal every second. So we'll have to see how this actually works, but this could be a very, very big card and it could change a huge part of Paragon and how it's actually played. And next up, we have Tainted Magic. Again, a universal affinity. Anybody can use the card now. It costs 7 points, gives you 12 power and mana regen. The passive on Tainted Magic is SPELLBURN. Dealing ability damage to enemy heroes applies a damage over time effect that deals ability damage equal to 8% of the target's current health over 3 seconds. This effect cannot stack. So anytime you hit somebody with an ability, they will continue to take burn damage for the next 3 seconds. So think of a Morigesh. She marks you, she then Qs you. You are now taking Morigesh's damage for 12 seconds damage over time. However, you are also taking this SPELLBURN damage, 8% of your current health over the next 3 seconds. Now this will not stack on itself, but every single time there's consecutive ability damage, it refreshes the duration. So every single Morigesh tick, you're going to be taking an extra 8% of your current health. So this card could be pretty viable. Again, we'll have to wait and see, but it seems like it's going to be a strong card. Now a really big change came to the wards. The wards no longer have pips that you auto attack and take down. The Scout's ward now has 150 health, just like a river buff, and takes 60% reduced ability damage, and the Shadow ward has 225 health and takes a 60% reduced ability damage. What this means is Grux can no longer bleed wards with one shot. Grux used to be able to walk up to wards, right mouse button, bleed, and they'd walk away and they would die over time. Now you have 150 health and 225 health. Think about your ward clearers. They are your supports, your deckers, your Muriels. Their auto attacks do about 50 damage, sometimes even less. So if there's a ward on the ground, clearing wards now for supports is going to be that much harder. So we'll see how this works out. Next up, we have reworks on both Circlet of Mana and Circlet of Health. The mana and health regen for both of these cards is now applied globally. Somebody does not have to be within a certain radius. This applies to everybody on your team. So if you buy Circlet of Mana, your passive will now regen everybody on the team, not just anybody near you. So if you're a support, you're picking up Circlet of Mana, you're picking up Circlet of Health, and you are helping your entire team the entire time you have these cards. These cards are going to be extra strong. I can't wait to see them actually working. Next up, we have Armivore. It changed the stat to attack speed from attack pen and increased mana restored per basic attack to 6 from 2. So every time you attack anything, you get 6 mana back. This is a pretty big buff for this card. Not a lot of people bought it before. I'm not sure a lot of people are going to buy it now, but it's definitely something that could be situational for a lot of heroes. Iggy. Next up, we have Battle Mantra. Increase bonus mana regen when above 50% to 2.4 mana per second from 1.5 mana per second. So this is just for those order heroes. They're going to give you basically double the mana regen that this card previously had. Is it going to be super strong and powerful now? I don't think so, but it will help with that mana regen. Now next up we have Blood Catalyst. Increase the mana regen to 17.5 a second from 10 a second for 10 seconds. Remove the critically wounded limitation. So Blood Catalyst now is just a much better mana regen card. Again, not sure if it'll be super strong and played a lot, but we'll have to see. Charging Brute. This is a pretty big change. I love myself some Charging Brute. Increase the movement speed per stack to 20 movement speed from 10. Now for those of you that don't know, Charging Brute, every time you kill an enemy minion or hero, you get a move speed buff that stacks. It used to be 10 move speed every time you killed something. Now it is 20 move speed every time you killed something. They also increased the duration of these stacks to 7 seconds from 5. So if you kill one minion, you get a stack of 20 move speed for 7 seconds. If you kill another minion, then you get another 20 and another 20 and another 20 and so on and so forth. And an excellent part of Charging Brute now is it added the ability to move through units during duration. So if you are in a team fight and you're able to kill minions or heroes, you can then move through heroes or minions so you do not get stuck on anybody, plus you're moving extremely fast the whole time. So I think Charging Brute's going to come back, especially on somebody like Sparrow that can really use the move speed bonus. So we'll see how that works. Empyrean Mask, another very big buff on Empyrean Mask. A lot of people didn't use this. I knew a few people that did. It gives you power, basic armor, ability armor, and mana regen. You can cycle through which ability and which stats you want. So you have 3 different options. You have your increased power, your increased armor, or your increased mana regen. It basically just buffed all of the stats. So it makes this card, a 4-point card, a whole hell of a lot better. Now small changes, Everglass reduced to 5 CP from 6 CP. Font of Rapture has changed completely. It used to have health regen, mana regen, and crit chance. It now has 5% lifesteal and 6 power. So just a nice little change of Font of Rapture. Hinder Beast will now work on jungle buffs, which includes the green buff in addition to the river buffs, and it has an increased basic attack slow to 10% from 5%. So again, this card got a nice little buff from what it used to be. Incessant Onslaught got a rework. It reduces active cooldowns by 0.2 seconds per basic attack. So the active on this, every time you attack something, your cooldowns will go down by 0.2 seconds. So if you're building attack speed, basically every 5 attacks, your cooldowns of your abilities will go down 1 second. Now, is this going to be a huge change with Incessant Onslaught? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. Now, what is a huge change is Infinity Stream. It changed the regen value, the scaler, from current mana to missing mana. This is going to be huge. The current mana was never all that great. It was a good card. I built Infinity Stream on almost all of my mages, but now that it works off of missing mana instead of current mana, plus the regen value has gone up to 3.6 mana per second from 2.4. So overall, as a mana regen and pen card, Infinity Stream got a nice buff and it's going to be used a lot more. Now, Mad Spore Stash, I'm going to group with Radiant Mantle. They're basically the exact same card, and they're just for different affinities. It increases the burn radius from 300 to 500 for enemies that are around you, and increases damage to 12 plus 1.5 the player level from 10 plus the player level. So you're getting a bigger burn radius plus more damage on Mad Spore Stash and Radiant Mantle. So maybe some junglers will start picking that up again. Now, Mending Bloom has changed. They changed the stat to max mana from health regen. They also increased mana regen to 6 mana per second from 3.8 mana per second for 15 seconds to yourself and nearby allies. So again, a nice little support card, got a nice little buff. Nano Drive now grants 100 movement speed for 2.5 seconds on a 14-second cooldown. This could be an excellent chase card. Excellent chase card. Will people start picking it up? Again, we don't know. Overflowing Gifts changed the stat to max health from mana regen, and it increased health regen to 9.5 seconds from 6 seconds to yourself and nearby allies. So again, support card is getting a nice little buff. Purity Sensor now costs 80 mana to cast, and the cooldown is increased to 2 minutes from 1.5 minutes. So you got a little bit of a nerf to Purity Sensor. It wasn't really bought a lot before, so I don't really see it being bought a lot now. We'll have to see. Radiant Mantle, again, just as same as Mad Spore Stash. Bigger burn radius, more damage. Rally the Troops now costs 50 mana to cast. The cooldown is reduced to 35 seconds from 2 minutes. And it increases the attack speed buff to 33 attack speed from 22 attack speed. So this active gives everybody in your range 33 attack speed. And this used to be on a 2-minute cooldown. It's only on a 35-second cooldown now. So this could be a support card that might start getting picked up a little bit more. We have Rocket Spike, a small change, reduced the cost to 4 CP from 5. Satori Cloak increased the armor shed duration to 2 seconds from 1.5, not a huge difference. Scorpion Plate and Splinter Bark Vest, again, are basically the exact same card. It increased the duration to 10 seconds from 6 seconds. It reduced the cost to 5 from 6, and they no longer share a cooldown. So you can use these on their own, and they both got pretty decent buffs. Next up, we have Shockwave. It now is reworked. It deals 50 damage and a large radius around the hero, and it slows enemies by 250 movement speed for 3 seconds. This used to be 2 seconds of a slow, now it's 3 seconds of the slow, plus it deals 50 damage in an area. Now 50 damage obviously isn't that much, it's not going to win you a team fight. Anybody with Teleblink cards or Stablink cards, these cards get deactivated whenever you take damage. So this 50 damage in the radius will stop people from being able to teleport out with Teleblink and Stablink, but we'll see if that really makes it a big change and people are going to start buying Shockwave. We have Siren Song, increased the slow magnitude to 60 from 40, and it reduced the slow and speed buff duration to 3 seconds from 4 seconds, a little change there. Splinter Bark Vest was the same as Scorpion Plate. We have Stablink, the Corruption Blink Charm. They reduced the base health cost to 15% from 20%, and you also can use it while you're critically wounded now. You will not be able to use it if your health cost would result in death. So basically this takes 15% of your max health in order for you to blink away. This is used for Grux, Countess, Sevrog. So they just made it a little bit easier to use with it only taking 15% of your health instead of 20. Stasis Gem, huge change here. Stasis Gem is now a universal affinity. Universal instead of just order. It also only costs 5 card points instead of 7 now. I think this is going to be picked up a lot more on a lot of people, especially with the Morigesh ult, especially with the Aurora ult, the Howie ult. There's so many ults that you can Stasis Gem out of, and it now only costing 5 CP. I think this may be a replacement to the Blink card for a lot of carries and mages, so we'll have to see. Wicked Stigma. They reworked the ability to a passive. The ability grants vision of the target for 6 seconds. Wicked Stigma used to be on an active, now it's just a passive. Thermobond, there was a bug that worked with Decker's containment fence that would just destroy it. That's no longer in the game. Tempest Pearl reduced the cooldown to 45 seconds from 60 seconds, but it now costs 50 mana to cast. And finally, Trader's Touch increases the bonus damage to 5% of the target's current health from 3%. So anytime that they would be hit by an ability, they will take 5% of their current health as damage. So we ran through a lot of stuff there pretty quickly, and the video is still 20 minutes long. There's so many changes in 40. And like I said, if you're looking for gameplay changes and the hero changes, I will link those in the description below. Let me know what your favorite card rework is. There are so many to choose from. So let me know in the comments what your favorite is and what you're looking forward to most about these new cards. Thank you for watching, guys, and as always, stay active.